Whites stand on history's mountain, and blacks stand in history's hollow.
Hollow in this context refers to a remote area, typically in a mountain, oftentimes a box canyon, where there might be one way in, one way out, and you wouldn't ordinarily pass through the area. So there was a book called Sleepy Hollow, which referred to a town that was hidden away, which most people didn't notice. And then you can also talk about a backwater, which is a similar idea, where some area is remote and hard to reach.
So hollow means a valley, right? As opposed, in this context, as opposed to mountains, which is a high point, geographically speaking, hollow is a low point, and it's a valley.
That's correct.
I mean, a valley is something on the level with this, like a sea level, and hollow would be lower, something that is lower than a valley.
It would be lower, yes, but it's also closed off on one end. So a valleys will typically have rivers running through the valley, so you can go from one end of the valley to the other by following along the river. In the case of a hollow, there's not a river running down, or if there is, it's a creek that goes up the mountain. So there's only one way in and one way out.
The next thrust of our efforts must be to lift from individuals those burdens of unequal history.
Thrust refers to a force, typically in a single direction. So a rocket can have thrust, and a spacecraft can have thrusters to move the spacecraft around. Similarly, with sword fighting, the person would thrust the sword forward to attack the other person, or in the army or military maneuvers, a thrust would be a forceful attack against the enemy.
And in this context, the next thrust of our efforts, thrust is direction or trajectory.
That's fair enough, yes. Very similar to the military context of making an effort to achieve an objective.
I can only hear such protest through ears that are tuned by a lifetime to listening to the language of evasion.
Evasion refers to the existence of a behavior of hiding something. For example, tax evasion is hiding your income from the government. Or language of evasion refers to speaking in such a way to try to obscure the facts so that people have a difficult time figuring out what's going on. So evasion could take the form of false facts, open lies. It could also take the form of including extra information that's not important, which causes people to change their focus. In any case, it's not sincere speech.
So you can say a scammer was successfully evading police for many years and finally was captured somewhere overseas.
Exactly. In this case, evade is a verb, basically means to run away. You evade the police also means to avoid. So the tenant was able to evade their landlord when they were late with the rent. Or someone is able to evade their creditors when the creditors call to try to collect the money, or evade your boss when he wants to get the report from you. It just means to avoid, generally by running away in some fashion.
And I do not speak fulsomely. Most of that never would have been done without men of Burt Marshall and Roy Wilkins, Whitney Young.
Fulsomely refers to flattery that's done in an excessive or insincere manner. For example, if you were to speak fulsomely about your former company, you might say how great it was, but your true beliefs are not that it was so great. And you might overspeak to the point of flattery. It's old-fashioned, it's not common.
And it means
Offensive, excessive,
flattering,
flattery.
or
Yes.
insincere.
Right, and that was very common quite some time ago, because it was considered to be rude to be very direct about someone. So rather than saying that something was bad, you would just exaggerate how good that something was or someone was. And then people would understand that you were mocking the other person. You were making fun of the other person to point out how bad they were.
That's all for today. Tom Taylor is an ESL tutor. He teaches English in the United States and outside, all over the world, using Skype. He can be reached at his website, which is
ESL-fullsteamahead.com.
click on this link and check out his website and email with questions. Thank you, Tom, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.